Hey everybody, welcome back to Kratom Kingdome, or Kratom Kingdome. This is your host Chris Irving talking about the substance named Kratom, which is specifically Mitragyna speciosa, which is a holistic herbal remedy from Southeast Asia that's been used since the 1900s. That the particular alkaloids in it, called Mitragyna speciosa and 7-hydro-Mitragyna speciosa, both affect your neurons in your brain, binding to pain-relieving neuroreceptors, causing pain relief, also releasing dopamine and serotonin, causing less depression, and helping calm anxiety down. And I am talking about this because I have been an avid Kratom user and researcher for over 15 years. I hold 2 master's degrees in psychology and neuropsychology, specifically studying the brain and its neurons in general, and mapping parts of which neurons affect which parts of your consciousness or pain receptors, or even like certain drugs like narcotics and morphines do the same thing, but they're far more harmful. And this is why we turn to a non-addictive, non-harm affecting substance called Mitragyna speciosa, which comes from the coffee family, ironically. So as coffee affects you as a stimulant, Kratom to some people can also be a stimulant. To me it is. I mean, I drink Kratom in the morning instead of coffee, and I'm just stimulated for the day. And I'll also have coffee too, because I need extra stimulation. Because of my particular brain damage and disability, I need a lot of help. So I use natural substances like caffeine and Mitragyna. So this is specifically for parents. If I were a parent, would I let my child consume Kratom? And to be honest with you, I would say not children. Not until they're 18 or above, for the specific reason that the FDA recommends that human beings be 18 and over to use it, which the state of Tennessee has that law. But I've never really seen any restrictions on it. I don't have to prove I'm 18 to buy it at the corner store or the head shop, which I don't buy it from head shops or corner stores anymore. And when I order it online, the only age limit is, do you have a credit card or a debit card? And because you're not going to get a credit card or a debit card under the age of 18 unless your parents give it to you. So parents can check those receipts on your computer online bank website or credit card websites, and see exactly what your child has been spending their credit on, or your credit on. And as a neuroscientist, I've found that your brain isn't fully developed until you reach a certain age, particularly between 18 and 21 years old, which is why we set limits for substances like alcohol or other things, and why doctors won't prescribe high dosages of narcotics or morphine substances to children under a certain age, because they know it could be dangerous and harmful. I myself have never heard any studies or research on how Kratom specifically affects your brain cells. For instance, melatonin. In the 80s, a lot of parents were giving their children melatonin because they thought it would help them sleep. Further research down the road found out that that was a very bad idea, even for adults to take it. Because if you take that substance for too long, melatonin in general, especially as a kid, it's going to change your neural pathways and stop creating natural melatonin that all of our brains create. Everybody thought, oh well, if our brain creates it, adding more to it isn't going to hurt it. But what it does is it reduces the amount that the brain needs to produce, and it screws up your biological clock. So kids become insomniacs by the time they're teenagers and need to take some sort of downing substances to regenerate their brain cells. Well, what I did, because the hospital had me on sleeping pills and narcotics and all that stuff while I had the stroke for a month, and in that month period, my brain quit producing natural melatonin. I was in a hospital, so there was no natural sunlight when I went to bed and when I woke up. I didn't even know if it was day or night, and I was unconscious most of the time with an IV, put to sleep by morphine, so my brain would not continue to expand or swell, causing it to be bigger than my brain chamber in my skull and causing me to stroke out again. So by the time I got to the hospital, I haven't been able to sleep normally since. So what I did originally was, instead of using melatonin or sleeping pills, I would stay awake all night long, and then the next day I wouldn't take a nap or anything during the day, and then not lay down until sunset. Because when I first got home from the hospital, I was going to bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I was so exhausted from the damage done to my brain. I digress. So anyway, melatonin, no for kids or adults, in my opinion. And that's based on studies and my personal experience as a holistic user since at least 2003, when I became very sick and got sick and tired of prescription medications controlling my body and how my brain worked. So I started to learn on my own which medications are better. For instance, as a natural laxative, instead of using the store-bought or prescription laxatives, which eventually will screw up your stomach biome and your digestive biome, killing all those bacteria, or reducing all the natural bacteria that eats your digestive stuff, and they can smooth out the walls of your colon and digestive system so that there's nothing squeezing that material down to the end so it can be released. But there's a substance from, again, Asia called Cascara sagrogata, which has been used for years and years and years, because it's take that with a lot of water and it will empty you out, but don't do it all the time. Like, I take it when I haven't, because kratom has one of its side effects is constipation, just like morphine or opiates, which makes me think that it does slow your system down, and as narcotics do, because after, if I drink it every single day from 7 a.m. until I finally started stopping at 3 p.m. so I don't have to pee all night, because it is a diuretic like caffeine is, and they are from the same plant, from the same family as coffee beans. So until your brain is completely adult and formulated, because there's something called neuroplasticity, which certain thoughts will affect the way your brain works, and certain things like melatonin or caffeine or possibly kratom could change your neurochemistry or your neural and plasticity means change. So if my brain knows there's a certain part of my brain, probably right around here where my stroke is, which this is the right side of my brain, which affects the whole entire left side of my body. And I have a stroke on the left side of my brain that's about the size of, I think it was like 4 centimeters by a centimeter, I think. I mean, it was a huge hole in my brain, and it completely paralyzed my left side, leaving me with this. And so I know that neurons do affect your mobility, your motility, and your brain cells, and how I think. My consciousness is different. I can't imagine things anymore. Like, I can't close my eyes and go back in time and live through a scenario over again in my mind like I used to do, which was my defense mechanism for anxiety and stress, is I would go to another world by closing my eyes and going to a different world. That was my meditation, which definitely changed how my brain worked, because I could instantly switch back to that state of that brain level and relax and create, I guess they call it materialize events to happen by thinking positive about it beforehand, and then it can, like The Secret and The Promise and all that stuff that said that these certain meditations will affect and change your thinking, and positive thinking can create a positive outcome. So I can't do that anymore. I mean, my brain just won't allow it because my neurons are so screwed up. And also, just as my neurons, I know exactly where this is on my brain is coming from. It's coming from this side over here. So this side over here makes it impossible for me to, because I have nothing there, no neurons at all. So because I have a destroyed part of my brain, kratom affects me differently than it's going to affect anybody else. So I drink a lot of it because I have the unfortunate displeasure of building a tolerance really quickly to drugs, which is why I don't take narcotics or have never taken illegal or illicit drugs before that affected my brain, because I build a tolerance to it and I need more and more and more and more and more, which is what happened with kratom. So I have realized that I need to cut back a little bit just for my own health and to let my brain start to heal on it and do its own thing, because right now I have to take a lot of anxiety prescription medications because I can't control my anxiety on my own anymore. I have panic attacks which throw me into grand mal seizures. So as adults, we're legally allowed, because the FDA decided that we can drink or consume alcoholic beverages at 21, because our brain is fully developed, and at that age we can choose to kill ourselves or not, I guess is what they're saying. And then now they're starting to start that with marijuana or cannabis, which I think is perfectly valid, just like I think kratom is perfectly valid and okay. I think cannabis is also a valuable remedy, but I don't believe narcotics are a valuable remedy anymore. They're just too dangerous. People get that euphoria too fast and want to keep it, so they will do anything they can to get that narcotic again. And I have that tendency, so I do not take narcotics at all, and I don't drink alcohol at all, because as an adult who studied the brain, I don't want to live that life of an addict. And if I ran out of kratom and couldn't get any for a couple of days, I would be okay. I mean, I would drink more coffee probably, but I'll still live. I'm not going to go through crazy withdrawals. There is some withdrawal for some people, though, but I'm different than you. So my nose might run, and I might think I'm having a fever or something, like practical opiate withdrawal symptoms. But it's way less than real opiate withdrawal, where opiate withdrawal can kill you, and benzodiazepines withdrawals can kill you, as well as, but kratom withdrawal won't kill you. It's been scientifically proven, and rehabs all across the country are starting to utilize this to get kids in detox centers, to get adults and kids off of heroin and opiates like that. And it's been a lifesaver for a lot of heavy addicts, because it's enabled them to use matrigina, this natural substance that isn't overwhelmingly causing euphoria or something like that, and it takes away the cravings of opiates and heroin more. It reduces the amount of sickness and throwing up and horrible effects that opiate withdrawals will have, and you can get off of this a hell of a lot easier than you can get off of an opiate. I wish the medical community, the medical scientific community in general, would take more time and study these holistic remedies like kratom or cannabis or caffeine, and spend less research on things like Cafagar or caffeine diet pills or whatever, and put the time and money into studying these natural remedies that have been used for hundreds of years in some cases in Asia or the American West. Hence cannabis and Cascara sagrada and caffeine and now Mitragyna speciosa, because I believe that those things will help solve problems for the long term instead of short term relief of pain that's so excessive that it causes horrible, this condition of wanting more opiates to keep that euphoria going. You know what I mean? I honestly have gotten really good experiences with Mitragyna. It has given me euphoria, and certain strains at certain times at certain dosages. Like right now, I'm drinking a red Bali because I was drinking green most of the day yesterday, and I find by switching strains, switching colors, that you can minimize that tolerance level. Alright, you guys, I'm going to make a video next time, hopefully with my mom, interviewing her on her perspective as a nurse and a mother on the effects of how a kratom has affected me, someone she's known for 54 years. Yikes, that's a long time. Which is why I don't have any hair, or why I have to pluck eyebrows that are coming out gray, which, yikes. I have no gray hair now because I have no hair. And that was, instead of dyeing it all the time, I find that shaving is a lot easier. Alright, y'all, so look out for the next video where you get to meet my mom, Sandra Shiflett. Alright, peace out, y'all. Chris